It gives me immense pleasure to announce that the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India has decided to organize its first ever Global Professional Accountants Convention, GLOAC, on the theme Connecting the Globe, Creating Value on November 24th to 26th, 2023 at the Mahatma Mandir, Gandhinagar in India. GLOAC is being celebrated as a mega event to showcase the important role that the accountancy profession has been playing in the economic and social development of our country.
Globalization has made the world one village, and the services of chartered accountant are also available globally without any boundaries. The Institute of Chartered Accountants of India is also devoting significant efforts towards global networking. The convention shall be attended by more than 3,000 delegates from around 40 countries. I would like to extend a warm welcome to the fraternity on behalf of ICI to attend and participate in the first ever GLOAC.
ICI is geared up to welcome delegates from across the globe at the GLOAC.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. I am CA BK Chavda from Gandhinagar and moderator here of this webinar. I am really feeling excited to welcome all our members and dignitaries and under this webinar organized by our CPE committee. We have just shown a video of GLOAC and delighted to inform that ICI is organizing its first ever Global Professional Accountant Convention GLOAC on the theme Connecting the Globe and Creating the Value from 24, 25 and 26 of November 2023 at Mahatma Mandir Convention Center, Gandhinagar, Gujarat, India. GLOAC is being celebrated as a mega event to display the important role that the accountancy professional has played in building stronger and more stable economies around the globe. It would provide an opportunity to the global market to network with the best finance and account talent in India. So I welcome you all. Please do come and participate in this GLOAC event also. Now it is my pleasure to be the moderator for this webinar on discussion on assessment procedure in income tax, and the another part is emotional intelligence. In a short while, we will start this webinar. We all know the importance of our CP committee. Now it's a day in and day out. Every day there are changes. It is a big scenario worldwide. The biggest challenge for the professional face is how to stay on the top of their game while adopting the new requirements and norms. There is imperative to aim to be up to date, to offer unique guidance, influence others with their innovative approach and expertise. It is also vital to stretch old ideas beyond traditional boundaries, and that too in the AI environment. The knowledge gathering, updation is going to be a very, very important and crucial area. In this context, CPE facilitates our professionals to maintain, to improve, to broaden their knowledge, skill, and expertise required to achieve their professional goals through webinars, seminars, and etc., and much, much, many more. We all know the very importance of our CPE committee. The program for this evening is as follows. We have two sessions of 1 hour each. The first one is technical discussion on assessment procedure in income tax. and second one is emotional intelligence. Our both the eminent speakers will guide and throw their professional experience, expertise, and knowledge on this for the interest of the professional. Now, I would like to introduce our first faculty, C.A. Sachin Sinha sir. He has over 20 years of experience in the knowledge and in-depth knowledge of taxation and management consultancy. He has delivered more than 400 sessions on domestic and international taxation on various platforms. He has authored many books on topics tax audit, basics of permanent establishment, handbook on issue of 15 CACB, and much more. So now, without wasting a moment, let us move to C.A. Sinha sir and let us enrich our knowledge. Sinha sir, please.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon to all. And thank you so much, Chavda sir, for nice introduction and giving the background of the GLOAC. And you are in the host city. So thank you so much. And I'm very much thankful to the CPE committee of ICI for giving me this opportunity. Because whenever we discuss such type of issues, we of course we also get the opportunity to again go back and read the whole provision. And of course, while reading such provisions, we also try to connect with the nuances we generally feel at a time of practical application. Friends, as you all know that the today's topic is the technical discussion on the assessment procedure. And being a chartered accountant or a tax consultant, when we talk about the income tax, everything lies down to the income tax department. It means whenever a client asks you that whether, sir, whether these expenses can I claim as an expenditure or not, you would simply say, no, this will not be allowed because department will not accept. Or if you have certain documents, then only the department will accept. So even though you understand the law, you know the provision, but at the end, you have to connect your knowledge with the practical application that whether the department will accept at the time of assessment or not. It means assessment, you can say it's a final wording at the first stage that yes, your return, whether it is filed properly or not. If it is filed properly, all the expenditure has been claimed properly and all the documents you have, then it's okay. You will get the assessment order with nil demand or a nominal demand. Then you can say that my working 1 year back was the or 2 year back was the correct working. If something goes wrong, then of course you have other option. You can go to CIT appeal and then ITAT and so on. But today's understanding, because as you know that since last 2-3 years we are facing so many challenges because the faceless assessment is already in place. And while doing the faceless assessment, all the notices are coming through online, that is on the email and appearing on the portal. Sometimes SSC is not aware that anything has come to him, because if you connect with the earlier practice like 5 year, 10 year back, a notice, physical notice used to come to the doorstep of the SSC. Then he come to know that okay, this notice has come to him, but all the SSC are even not tech savvy. They don't know whether what is their email ID. Some consultant has created their email ID and they have given their email ID and mobile number for the purpose of convenience. Now they are not giving the consultancy to that client, then all the challenges will come. So these are the challenges we are actually facing. And in most of the cases, what we have seen that the SSC is facing problem because he is not receiving the notice. And at the end, sometime you see that this huge demand order has come to his doorstep, or bank has got the notice to attach the bank. And in that case, then the SSC come to know, okay, there is some demand from the income tax department. Then he'll come to you as a consult to consult a consultant. And then you will come to know, okay, you have not attended any notice, you have not filed any reply. That's why this is there. Then SSC will say, I have never created my login. Then what to do? So these are the all practical challenges. And of course, when we deal with such a situation, the both things, we sometimes we enjoy, and sometimes we feel very irritating that we want to upload something, but we are unable to upload because of the size. If you compress the size, then the quality will deteriorate. If the quality will deteriorate, the AO will not be able to read. Then then how he can assess the document if he is not able to read, and if he's, then how he will connect you, because there is no opportunity or no medium of connection, then how he will connect you. So these are all practical difficulties. Being a genuine SSE, you want to submit everything. You have 500-page statement, bank statement, and one debit entry in the month of April, which is reversed in the month of, let's say, December, and in between there are 5,000 transactions. How you will convey to the assessing officer that this entry has been reversed on this date and you can see it from here? So it means you have to write everything. You have to write everything, and that writing should be connected with the page number of your submission. It means first of all, your writing should be, your written submission should be clear and self-explanatory. Earlier, what happened? We used to submit the document and then explain to the assessing officer, please see, in this submission, my document is here. My first page, in the first page, the debit entry is there, and in the last page, the credit entry is there. Hence the entry, and hence the transaction is squared up during the year. So no transaction can be said. But now the situation is different. It means you have to submit the written submission in such a manner that the assessing officer can understand everything when he read this submission. Number one. Number two, that all submissions should be connected with your attachments. It means if you have submitted the bank statement, and if you want to highlight something in the page number 1, please mark in the bank statement also that this is page number 1 of the bank statement, and in that this item or this line item I want to highlight, and subsequent entry is in that page, and that it means that should also be page numbered. So with this background, I want to share my presentation, and then we'll start the discussion. So as the name suggests, this is a assessment procedure. When we talk about the assessment procedure, the first question arises that from where the initial assessment stage, what is the initial assessment stage? Can we say that 143.3 is the first assessment stage? Before this, the self-assessment is there. 140 capital A is for the purpose of self-assessment tax. But when we prepare our income tax return, then we can say this is the assessment what I have done for myself. That is called self-assessment. I have done my self-assessment, and based on this income tax is I am liable to pay, or this much I am able, my refund would be there. And based on that, when you satisfy yourself, then only you submit that return, and based on that, the department start working. But it is not necessary that if you do not file the return, you will not be able to the department cannot question you. It means the second is, if you fail to file the return, even in that case also the department can come back to you and say whether you have can initiate your assessment. So these are the important things, that 143.1, whether 143.1 is an assessment. So technically speaking, 143.1 is not an assessment, it's an intimation, but the time period is 2 years. So sorry, 9 months. So if within 9 months you have not received any 143.1, then you can say that the primary assessment has been done. Then you have to make an application, or you have to put a request on the portal that please issue 143.1 intimation. But you can say primarily that yes, my first assessment has been done, but it doesn't make us assurance that if 143.1 has been done, then 143.1.3 cannot be done. Even in that case, you have 143.1 is done, you have got the refund. In that case also 143.3 can be started. So 144B is basically talking about the faceless assessment, and 144 is self-assessment, best judgment assessment. I'm not discussing here about the 147 because it is again a detailed presentation is required to discuss all the nuances of 147, 148, 149, etc. So we are covering here only the issues relating to the first stage assessment, or the other than a reassessment. So while talking about the filing of return, a few questions which come to my mind and I plotted just here. that whether every person is required to file the income tax return. Your question may be yes, no, depending upon your case. So just let me make it full screen. Sorry. Okay. So in case of company not in operation and no income, whether it is also required to file return? Yes, in that case also, because section 139(1) clearly says in case of company or a firm is required to furnish the return. So there is no condition of, or there is no threshold limit. In case of individual or other than a firm and company, there is a threshold. In case of AOP, total income is less than 2.5 lakh, but paying electricity bills of more than 1 lakh. So whether it is also required to furnish the return. So there are other provisions also, or explanation also in this case, which says that yes, it is required to furnish the return. Heads of income, it's already we all know, because this is a basic thing, so it is not required to discuss here. So now come to directly to the assessment part. So while talking about the assessment part, once you file the return, once you file the income tax return, then the department start processing that return. You all have generally received the intimation. Now this is very fast process, and sometimes you file the return and within few hours or within few days you get the 143(1) intimation. So it can be said that this is a machine generated machine generated intimation, and this is being processed through the machine. So of course, when it is through the machine, so no mind has been applied to prepare this statement, and whatever information you have furnished, based on that, that machine verifies that whether all the information are in as per the provision of the law or not. And there are few items which is given in that section 143(1), which says if it is not there, then of course the question of then they'll disallow, or they'll make the addition, and based on that addition, the demand would be there. The question will arise that whether do I need to pay that demand, or can I file a rectification, or can I go for the appeal? So of course, you have these two options are already available. So once you receive the 143(1) intimation with a demand and you are not satisfied with that, then in that case, you have two options. Either you can file a rectification if you believe that the mistake, there is some mistake which is apparent from record. That means either the department has not given you the correct tax credit which is already appearing in 26 years, or it has not given or it has disallowed something which is not actually which should not be allowed. Then in that case, it can be filed as a 154 rectification of mistake. And if you believe that there is some mistake which cannot be rectified, but yes, you believe that there is some mistake in the order, then within 30 days you can file an appeal also. It means 143(1) intimation is an appealable intimation. You can file an appeal against this. So 143(3) is a scrutiny assessment. We'll discuss in detail. So 144 base judgment, 147. These are the basic terms which when we discuss, it will come definitely. Now the question arises whether the assessment term is defined in the Income Tax Act, because as I mentioned that whole income tax lies on the assessment. If everything goes well and the department approve it as with the assessment, then it can say that yes, it is over for a time being. So what is assessment? So section 2 clause 8 says assessment includes reassessment. It means in that case also assessment is not defined, but it is an inclusive definition which says that reassessment also includes in the assessment. So preliminary assessment, while talking, it is referred as a summary assessment without calling the SSC. So in the preliminary assessment, calling to some SSC is not required. So we can say that it's whether it's a 143(1), you can say that it's a preliminary assessment. It is being done by the assessing officer. But as I mentioned that it is a preliminary assessment, not a final assessment. So it can be happen that 143 after 143(1) intimation, 143(3) can be initiated. So while referring to 143(1) intimation, these few important points we need to verify. This is basically basically verifies the arithmetical error, if any. Also, if there is any incorrect claim or disallowance of loss, how this system will come to know that there is disallowance of loss claimed? It will connect it to the previous year return where you have already filed and carried forward, and this year you are setting off. Then only it will come to know. Disallowance of expenditure indicated in the audit report. It means it is not matching with the audit report. In audit report, you have given 1 point and saying that this is to be disallowed, and in the return it is not disallowed, then of course the system will disallow it by saying that it is already considered in the tax audit report. And disallowance of deduction under 10AA. 10AA ATI will come only when the return is not filed within the prescribed time limit. It means in any other case, 10AA this cannot be disallowed by through 143(1) intimation. Apart from this, the question will arise whether if any mismatch with the 26 years can, based on this, the 143(1) intimation can be disallowed, can disallow your credit. So before 2018, this provision was there in this clause, but subsequently they have removed this clause. So now we can say that even though your credit is not matching, so credit in the return you have claimed is not matching with the credit appearing in 26 years, 143(1) intimation cannot it cannot say that it is to be disallowed because it is not matching with 26 years. So based on that, the demand cannot be generated. So scope of assessment under 143(1). So as we mentioned that this is a primary assessment. So 143(1) is a primary assessment and it is being system generated. So once you file the return, based on that, the return is being processed. So what is the time limit for processing this return? So 9 months from the end of the month in which the return from the end of the financial year in which the return is filed. So 143(1) procedure we is not required to discuss. Time limit we discussed already. So 143(3). If I am taking 22-23 as a concerned year, then we can say that for the assessment year 22-23, the notice under section 143(2) should be issued within 3 months from the end of the assessment year. It means the notice should be issued on or before 30th of June 2023. So you might have received various notices in your case or in case of your client. So you can first verify that whether the notice has been issued within the prescribed time limit or not. Number one. Number two, so notice will come under 143(2). So the question arises, so what if the 143(2) notice is not there? If the 143(2) notice is not there, then assessment proceeding cannot be initiated. If it is being initiated, so you can claim at any stage, or you can challenge this clause, this point at any stage that 143(2) notice has not been served to the SSC. Hence, assessment proceeding should be considered as null. Number one. Number two, the question will definitely come to your mind. What if the notice issued before 30th June but served after 30th June? Or whether it is to be served before 30th June. So again, this question may arise. So of course, nowadays, since the system is online, so the moment they initiate they issue a notice from there, within that fraction of second or fraction of minute, you will definitely receive it. Now the question also arises that whether the message, because if you see the procedure, they say that a message will also go on the given mobile number. So what if the message has not been received? So it can be said that the mail ID is given and it is appearing on the portal of the or the login ID of the SSE. The third question may come to your mind, since the SSE has never logged in, so how it can be appearing in the login ID of the SSE? So this is one way that you're not opened your door. It doesn't mean the envelope cannot be dropped at your door. So department can upload the notice based on your PAN number. Based on your PAN number. Subsequently, whenever you log in, you will find that there are so many notices are appearing there. So it cannot be said that since I have never logged in or I have not created my login, so notice cannot be served upon me. So this cannot be said. So now coming to the procedure part. So if the SAO consider it is necessary, so this start when the assessing officer feel that there is something which is not correct. Not correct in the sense the SSE has claimed something which is not allowable, or SSE has underpaid the tax by any manner, or the SSE has claimed the excessive deduction, then he will serve on the taxpayer a notice requiring him to attend his office. Now, physical requirement is not there. So in your notice, you will find that a timeline is there, and within that timeline, you have to reply that notice. While talking about the notice, there's a few points which is important while referring to the notice, because the procedure which is given in 144 capital B, it says that the notice should also contain that how it is going to be processed. So they have to mention that the faceless, this will took place through the faceless assessment or the e-proceeding. So you can refer your notice and you will find that this clause is already there. So you can say that yes, this notice is within as per the procedure which is framed by the under this section. So here I have highlighted few points like based on how the department, how the notice can be issued. So the taxpayer a notice requiring him to attend his office or to produce or cause to produce any evidence on which the taxpayer may rely. So first of all, you will get the opportunity to reply yourself. So when you get the notice, the department will ask few questions, and based on this, you need to submit the reply. In some notices under 143.2, there is no point under which or department is not asking any question. They said that this is the document you have furnished, this is the return you have furnished, you find the acknowledgement number and the date of the return, and they say that you have furnished this and there is some discrepancy. So based on this, this notice has been issued. It means they just try to issue the notice within the given time frame, that is within 3 months from the end of the relevant assessment year. In the subsequent notice, so if you receive that notice, of course the timeline is given to reply. Since they have not asked anything to respond, any point is not there. So you can give your financial statement, copy of ITR is already there. So you can audit report and other document which you believe that these are the basic document anyway I need to share with the department. So you can share with them. Based on that, of course, you will receive a subsequent notice under section 142.1. This is basically a collection of information from you. So 142.1 notice can be issued multiple times. So 143.1 for any assessment year can be issued only once. 142.1 can be issued multiple times before the completion of assessment. And in the first notice, you will find that they are asking for so many information. Then the subsequent stage, once you reply. So as I mentioned earlier, that when you respond to the assessing officer, please be careful that all the information what you are giving to the department are correct. The document you are submitting should be legible, clear, readable, and self-explanatory. If the document is not self-explanatory, attach an explanation with that. If you want to give any reference of any document in your submission, please give all the submission. If the nature of transaction is so complex that you believe that the physical, even though physical is not possible, but some discussion is required. So you can mention in your written submission that the video conferencing opportunity should be given to you. And of course, and also if you believe that there is some transaction which I need to which I can present only through the diagram, then you can prepare the diagram on your submission by giving this diagram. It means the way you want to explain to the assessing officer, so to make him enable to understand the transaction, and then based on that he can assess carefully, properly. So it is whatever information or document or manner you believe that this is the correct manner I should present, please present. Repetition of points should be avoided, and subsequently please try to not to mention please try not to make it so lengthy, so the submission should not go on so many or multiple pages, like 40-50 pages of written submission, because AO will not be able to understand, and then he will definitely if you are trying to confuse them, then it's a different thing. If you want to explain, then try to make your submission very crisp and short so that he can understand. First submission should be clear. In the second notice of 142.1, he may ask further information related to the earlier question, or he may ask some additional point also. Based on that, you can you can reply again within the time frame, and this process will go on. Last, the assessing officer will come to you with a so cause notice. Then why this should not be disallowed, or why this should not be added to your income. So that show cause notice is your opportunity to properly. Now the AO has opened his card that on which ground he want to go for the addition. So this is your best and last opportunity before the AO to file all the response, all the documents, evidence, whatever he want to see or verify relating to the so cause notice, because this is most important submission. Once you submit, now the rest is with the AO, that whether he accept it or not accept it. It may so happen that he accept your submission and your order, you get a nil demand order or a nominal demand order, or it may also happen that he did not accept your submission, and the expenditure what you have claimed he may not allow, or he may increase your income, and based on that the addition is there, and you get a huge demand. So now it will go to the second level of the CIT appeal and other things. But the first part, up to the assessment, make it clear that all the submission which is required under 142.1 notice has been properly submitted. And this is the one thing. The second thing, which is most important, please try to submit your reply within the time given, because if you fail to submit your reply within the time given, then you have to file an application to extend the time limit. When you file the extension before the AO or through the portal, of course, you will not get any response from the AO that yes, I accepted your extension application and I am extending this to this much, but you will not get. So assuming you have asked for 1 week or 2 weeks, try to submit all your response which has been asked to you within the extended time frame. But if you do not reply to the notice, then it may so happen that department may come to you with another penalty notice that you have not submitted your reply within the given time frame. So this is very important. So while talking about the 144AB, this is 144B, this is a faceless assessment procedure. But before this, I would like to discuss some point on 144. 144 is basically a situation where the SSC failed to submit the response at the first stage, and the assessing officer has no option available, then he can go with the 144. Or you have submitted, but you are not able to explain it, then he has no option left with him, then he can go with the 144. Then he has to reject your books of accounts and go for the 144. While if the AO go with the 144, in a situation where you are not able to submit your reply, or you fail to reply the notice, this is a very tricky situation, because in that case you lost the opportunity before the to submit the document or present your explanation before the assessing officer. So in the complete process of assessment, either it's a 144, 143, 3, 144, 147, please understand that this is the best opportunity before you to explain everything or present everything before the assessing officer. Here, it's a two-way communication. He'll ask you, and you have to submit the document. So if the 144 situation is there, it means at the first stage, you fail to submit the document, or you have not submitted the document properly, or the assessing officer is not convinced with the document you are submitting, then only he will go over for 144. So now come to the faceless assessment. So faceless assessment basically starts with the e-proceeding. This is an online system. As you know that first of all, you have to log in and then go to the e-proceeding, and based on e-proceeding, you have to see that whether the notice is appearing there or not. If the notice is appearing there, you'll of course find a reply icon, and you can reply through that through this procedure. So designated portal is basically the income tax portal. The CBDT has issued the instruction, guideline, and notice format for conducting the scrutiny assessment electronically. Scope means it covers 144, 143, 144, 147, everything now within the ambit of faceless assessment. If I talk about the authorities, so these are the various authorities in the faceless procedure. The first is National Faceless Assessment Center, which manages this assessment procedure. And then it comes to assessment unit. So role of assessment unit is very important, and this unit will communicate to you. So whenever you will get the notice, you get the notice from the assessment unit. Subsequently, the verification unit, which will verify the submission, what we will give you, they will verify it if it is something is there. Then the technical unit, if something is technical and the assessment unit feels that it should be referred to the technical unit, then it will go to the technical unit, and after this, it will come to the review unit, and then it will come to the SSC that yes, assessment, your assessment is done. And in between it will so many times it will come back to the SSC for the explanation, submission, and of course the SSC will get the opportunity before passing. It will give the opportunity before passing the order. So while talking about the National Faceless Assessment Center, it's a centralized, it's a proceeding through in a centralized manner. Assessment unit, as I mentioned, that assessment unit is the main unit which do all the assessment procedure. So which includes identification of points on issuing material for determination of liability. It includes refund also. Under the Act, seeking information or clarification on the points on issues also identified. The term assessment unit, whenever used in the provision, shall refer to the assessing officer having power so assigned by the board. So this line is very important, that because if you see the power to issue the notice for assessment is given to the assessing officer, and it is said that the assessing officer, if he feels that, then he may issue a notice to the SSC. So the language is very interesting. If you see 143.2 or 143 143.2 or 142.1, so it says, because this is very interesting to understand, where the return has been furnished under 139, 142.1, 139 or in response to 142.1, the assessing officer or the prescribed income tax authority, as the case may be, if consider it necessary or expedient to ensure that the assessee has not understated the income or has not computed the excessive loss. So this is given to the assessing officer. The section says 143.2 assessing officer. But here the assessment unit is there. So can we say that the assessment unit is the assessing officer? So the board has clarified that wherever you see the term assessment unit, it is used in the provision shall refer to an assessing officer having power so assigned by the board. So this is important. It shall perform the function on, so verification unit is also very important role, which includes inquiry, cross-verification, examination of books, accounts, examination of witness, and recording of statement and such other function as may be required for the purposes of verification. So this, the role of the verification unit is limited to the verification of documents, witness, submission by the assessee. The request for verification may also be assigned by the NFSE for such verification unit. So it will, if the assessment unit refers something to the verification unit, then only it will come to the assessment unit. Then the role come to the technical unit. It shall perform the function of providing technical assistance, which includes any assistance or advices, legal, accounting, forensic information, technology, etc. So this is again a very important part. Now the question arises that while talking about the valuation, so valuation is already there in 50 in section 50A, I think. So whether there is other valuation also, so yes, for the purpose of assessment, there is one section 142 capital A, which talks about the estimation of value of the asset by the valuation officer. So here also the valuation officer role come, and this come through the technical unit. Transfer pricing, of course, is there, data analysis, and any other technical matter or agreement or an agreement entered into under section 90 or 90 capital A. So this is basically for the purpose of DTAA agreement. So the technical unit role is very important because as I mentioned that if your case is related to something which is technical, it may so happen that the assessment unit has not handled such type of matter. So in that case, it will refer to the technical unit, and in technical unit, all the expert who have handled such type of matters earlier also, they can be able to understand the document, and they can be able to analyze the document, and based on that, the correct assessment can be done. So the whole idea behind all this structure that the correct assessment can be done. So let's take a simple example for the purpose of understanding. So assuming a assessing officer who is in a small jurisdiction where there is no international transaction is there, or he has never handled such type of transaction, and one assessment has come to him where the international transaction is there, and he's supposed to do the assessment. Can he be able to correctly assess such transaction? So of course your answer would be no, because he has not done such type of work, or he has not handled such type of matter earlier. So he may feel difficulty, or if he assess, then of course it may so happen that the correct assessment is missing. So either it may be in favor of SSC or against the SSC, but of course it can be said that it is not, the correct assessment has not been done. So due to this, it refer to the concerned person who is actually expert for this, or we can say that technically fit for this purpose, who do that type of assessment, and based on that his report, the assessment unit further go through it, and again required they refer to the review unit also. So itself review unit role is also very important, because it shall perform the function of the review of the income tax or of the income determination proposal, which includes checking of the following, that is whether the relevant and material evidence has been brought on record. So sometimes it happens that the document which is actually important for the purpose of assessment has not been submitted by the SSC, and neither submitted by the SSC nor asked by the assessment unit. So in that case, the assessment cannot be correctly done. So this is the responsibility of the review unit, that whether the correct question has been sent to the SSE or not. And if the correct question has been sent, whether the correct information in relation to that question has been submitted by the SSE or not. Further, whether the relevant points of fact and law have been duly incorporated in the proposal, whether the issue requiring addition or disallowance has been incorporated in the proposal. So these are very important point, and the assessing and this whole assessment procedure, although we see that we submitted some information, assessing officer gone through it, and so for us only the assessment unit is the contact point. When we submit anything, it will go to the assessment unit and assessment unit reverts to us. But at the back end, the technical unit, verification unit, review unit, they all are working together as a team, and they come to the conclusion that yes, this addition can be done. So when so much of mind is working behind this assessment procedure, and so much of system is working behind this assessment procedure, you can understand how much this is important for the department. And that is also within the given time frame. So within 3 months, the notice should be issued. Within 12 months, the assessment should be completed. Earlier, it was 9 months. So up to December, the assessment should be completed, but now it is extended to 31st March. So 1 year is there. So 12-month time frame is there for the purpose of assessment. So all the assessment has to be completed within the given time frame. You may feel, or you may find in your case also, because this is a practical situation. Once the notice under section 143 come in the 143.2 came to you in the month of, let's say, May or June, because that is the maximum time limit, June. So it came to you in June. Then 140, there's no 142 notice for next 3-4 months. Then suddenly you'll receive a notice with a long list of document, and then after every week or every 10 days, you're getting notice. So my humble submission is that when you receive the notice of 143.2, start working from that day, that today or tomorrow, you're definitely going to receive a list of document. And you'll start working or collecting the document or preparing the submission, then it will be difficult for you to submit all the document within the time frame. Or if you submit it, then of course you may also go without proper verification from your end. So as a consultant, we should not work as a postman or as a pass-through entity, that what the SSE has submitted to us, we have forwarded to the department. As a consultant, our role should be to analyze the document, what the SSE is submitting, whether actually this document is required for the purpose of assessment or not, what the assessing officer is asking, whether this is important or not. So these are all very important points, because to complete once the assessment is complete, then this opportunity will never come back to you or the assessing officer, unless there's a 147. And if 147 comes to you, then of course it will only related to the escapement of income and not the whole assessment. It means if you have not submitted the return, you have not filed any reply, or there is no assessment, then it can be said that 147 can be there. But if you have got the opportunity of 143.3, please submit. It will reduce your responsibility it will reduce responsibility at the time of reassessment, if any, because reassessment can be done only on the basis of which is not explained by the SSE at the time of assessment. If the SSE is already, if you as a SSE, you can prove that this has been asked in the assessment procedure and I have submitted my reply, and you have not raised any question further on that, so it is not my fault. So reassessment cannot be initiated on that question. So this 143.2 is in a way is an opportunity for you to submit the document before the assessing officer, present your case, present all the facts, also analyze all the document, what is there. Now the second question is, assuming in the books of accounts there is some mistake you find, at the time of submission, because you are not you have not done the audit of that company. You are only working as a tax consultant, and you find that there's some mistake in the financial statement which is already submitted before the AO. Can you say before the assessing officer that, see, there is some mistake in my financial statement, but my correct transaction is this, and I can give the verification document, or I can support give the evidence to support my submission. So yes, you can do so, because whatever you have submitted in the financial statement, it may so happen that some mistake is there, but your supporting document is not matching with that. Then you can say that yes, this is my document, there's some mistake, and whatever consequences there, of course it will come back, it will come to you. Nowadays, what we have observed in the 143 142 notice, they are asking for some information which is not directly related to the income assessment, like DTAA question, deferred tax liability or deferred tax asset. So calculation of deferred tax asset or deferred tax liability. So does it really affect my income assessment? Because anyway, it is a below the line item. So once I have determined my profit before tax, and that is my tax on which I am calculating my income tax as per the provision of the income tax law, and I am calculating the DTA, deferred tax asset or liability, based on the accounting standard which is given there, and I am calculating and I am putting that figure. So if there is any mistake in calculation of DTA, DTL, it will not anyway affect your assessment, your PBT, because it is already whatever you have calculated is the PBT, is not the PAT. So as I submitted, as I mentioned earlier, that the notices which are important to submit. Now, the time limit, because as I mentioned that the time limit is very important. So, and it is being revised recently in the year 22 for the 22-23 onwards, and it is 12 months. One more important thing, the 139(8)(a), that is updated return. The order of assessment shall be passed within 9 months from the end of the financial year in which the return is furnished. So for the purpose of 139(8), it is 9 months, and for the purpose of regular assessment, it is 12 months. Assessment we have discussed. So this is all from my side. If there is any question, I am ready to take it. So you are on mute, sir.
Sir, there are number of questions raised by our members. So I would like to, sir, ask you on behalf of our members.
Yes, sir.
Sir, one of the question is how to file an appeal to ITAT, either physically or online, keeping in mind the recent changes and development of new ITAT portal, sir.
So you have to submit it online, and then you get the acknowledgement, and that acknowledgement along with all the documents, it is to be submitted to the ITAT office.
Achha,
So it is to be submitted
online,
online, get the acknowledgement, attach all the documents, submission, Form 35A, and then submit it physical document to the registrar.
Sir, in how much copies it should be submitted?
So it should be submitted in 4 copies.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Sir, another question from our honorable member is income of spouse clubbed under section 64(1) and corresponding TDS is not allowed on the ground. TDS is not appearing in 26 AS and the SSE and appearing in 26 AS of the spouse. IT refund filed accordingly showing the TDS of the spouse. Rectification filed twice is rejected. What is the recourse to the SSE other than filing an appeal?
Okay. So this is very interesting question and very practical question has been raised by this member. So, sir, in this case, what happened? Assuming there's some income in the hands of my wife, and that basically it is going to be clubbed because of the clubbing provision, and TDS has been deducted in her name. Okay, sir.
Yes.
In her PAN number, and it is appearing in her 26 years.
Yes, sir.
And income is clubbed in your hand. So in that case, you, while you are filing the return, there is a clause, there is a column in the return where you have to mention that the credit of this PAN number. So you have to mention the PAN number. This PAN number should be given to me, and then only that credit will be allowed to you. And this is as per the provision of section 199 of the Income Tax Act.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Sir, another question is there.
Yes, sir.
In case of appeal filed against assessment under section 143(1) and 143(3) for AY 1718 with the jurisdictional CIT appeal since transferred to NFAC, appeal not posted for hearing till date, what should be done, sir? This is a big issue nowadays.
Sir, this is actually a big issue, and department also considering this yes, of course there is a long gap or huge delay, and for this purpose they have created one authority also who will see some of the files. But of course, I can say that last 4-5 years there is no movement in the CIT appeal case. Only the few cases has taken by them, and most of the cases are still pending.
Yes, sir. So, sir, any remedy regarding,
Sir,
sir?
presently, since this is an online process, so if you want, you can file some, because there is, if unless you got some notice in the e-filing portal, you won't be able to reply.
Yes, sir.
So you have to wait for the notice under 250, then you only will be able to reply. Then you can make an application with them that they kindly for the faster disposal or for the early hearing, any sort of things, so that they can consider this urgent, because through this huge money is actually blocked there. Because once there is a demand, assuming that there is demand of 1 crore, you file the appeal, and again you have to pay 20% for the purpose of stay. You have already submitted 20 lakh, deposit 20 lakh. You know your case is very fit case for the and it will be you will get the relief in one first hearing. But since there is no opportunity of first hearing, your 20 lakh is blocked for last 5 years. Right. And you are paying the interest on that 20 lakhs.
Right, sir.
So, sir, this is a very difficult situation. Of course, I think ICI should take some action on this and make some representation before the CBDT, or they might have done something in this regard. I'm not aware, but this is very important issue.
Thank you very much, sir. Sir, one another question. Can rectification application under section 154 be filed against order received under section 147 under faceless assessment?
So, sir, rectification can be filed when there is a mistake apparent from record.
Yeah.
So if there is mistake, if the order is passed and you feel that yes, there is some mistake in the order and that is apparent from record, then you can of course go back and say, sir, this is the mistake.
Okay. But no matter it is online or offline, we can, that option is available.
Yes, yes. So rectification is still with the jurisdictional AO.
Okay.
Online is there, but still it is with the jurisdictional AO, and you can approach the jurisdictional AO by saying that, sir, this order is passed, but there is some mistake, either name error or address error or something which you believe that this is incorrect, and this may create some difficulty for you in future. Then of course you want to correct it. Then you can approach to the assessing officer, sir, please rectify it.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. Sir, you explained the assessment procedures just from the 144B to the even 253, the time limits, and the very important and very tricky and just tricky questions which were raised by our members are also, sir, you replied in a very lucid and practical manner. And thank you very much for your sparing valuable time, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. And
Thank
thank
you,
you,
sir.
CP committee, for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dear friends, now the first session, very lucid session, is completed by the knowledge sharing with our honorable speaker. Now let us start with our another session, that is our second portion of today's seminar, and our speaker Alekhya Shastriji already is present, and we are just going to get the advantage of her knowledge also. She has more than 13 years of consulting experience across various industries. She has been working in internal audit, performance audit, improvement, risk management, and mitigation. She also has experience in functions as a sales, distribution, marketing, production, customer service, procurement. So, in all, we are having another very superb and fantastic speaker with us, from where we are going to learn today our very important second chapter of this today's session, and based on that we are going to enrich our knowledge on emotional intelligence. Alekhya madam, please.
Thank you so much, sir.
Please, ma'am.
Are you able to hear me properly?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay, wonderful. So, just give me a quick moment. Yes. So, thank you
There
so
is a
much
little
for this wonderful opportunity to explore a concept.
issue in voice, ma'am. Hamilji, can you check, please? Okay. Ma'am, please, will you look
Better
up
now?
about your network connection, ma'am?
Yes. Is it better now?
Yeah.
Yes. All
Now
right.
better, ma'am.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, sir, for giving this opportunity. Today was, I have just now returned from a very...
Ma'am, your camera is not on. Now you're visible. Now you're visible. You can continue. Sorry. You're visible.
Okay. Okay. All right.
I think Alekhya ma'am have some problem in connectivity. Hello? Are you getting us, ma'am? Hello?
Is it better now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
comfortable.
sincerely apologize for this inconvenience to all our members.
No issue, ma'am. It's a technical thing, what we can do.
Yes. I'm actually traveling and I'm in another city. We just completed my mother-in-law's last rite ceremony. And but I have learned through the process of what the subject of our topic is today, emotional intelligence, how important it is for us to continue on and maintain the commitments that we have made, and of course learning about emotional intelligence. I think that is a very important subject, It is said, and there's been a research paper that has been written by Harvard Business Review, and this concept of emotional intelligence as a concept was coined in 1990 by a psychologist called Daniel Goleman. And now, what exactly does emotional intelligence mean, and how is it relevant for us as working professionals, is really important to understand. When we start our work day to day, our entire life is broken down into elements and parts. Where when we're young, we're told, okay, we have to focus on marks. When we have to choose a profession, we have to focus on excellence in the profession. As we grow higher up in the hierarchy of in a professional realm, not everyone survives and not everyone thrives. There is a key factor which is a differentiating factor between those people who we look up to and call as leaders and those people who remain as managers. So, emotional intelligence as a concept is a very essential aspect if you want to move from managing to leading. Everyone, by default, because of their life experiences, learns how to manage things. Somehow, idhar udhar, little bit here, little bit there. We learn how to manage time, we learn how to manage our money, we learn how to manage our relationships, we learn how to manage ourselves. All of these management tactics have been taught to us because life teaches us that. Whether you are prepared for it or not, life happens to you and you learn how to manage the situation. But truly, leading by example is something that is not taught to us inherently. And so today, the concept that we will be talking about, emotional intelligence, essentially is to understand how do we move through excellence? How do we move from just about okay to perfection? And so that is the journey I'd like to share with you. And I'd like to share first through my own example, because this is a journey that I have been on. Currently, I'm working as the CEO of a spiritual lifestyle channel called Pyramid Meditation Channel Hindi. We're the world's number one 24/7 all positive spiritual lifestyle channel. We have recently, in January of this year, we became a satellite channel. We're distributing to 3.5 crore homes, and we're of course also present on digital platforms. Now the creation of this channel. I'm a chartered accountant by profession. I qualified in 20. I have been working with many management consultancy firms. Of course, first with Ernst & Young, and then I worked with PwC for a little while. And that my journey from being a manager in a big business has helped me to understand what is this concept of emotional intelligence. And now I'm just going to quickly share a presentation in front of all of you all, so that we have a brief idea of what exactly that we'll be discussing today. Just give me a quick moment. So while we wait for the presentation to be shared, broadly, what's typically what we'll be discussing? How we manage ourselves and how we manage ourselves in relation to others. Abhi tak, whatever we were discussing right now about managing our time, money, effort, and resources, is always managing ourselves. Now, managing ourselves is the bare minimal that we do. That's life. There's life's input that is given to us. There is an input that comes in, and somehow we go through life, and there's an output that comes in. That's managing ourselves. How do we manage ourselves in relation to others is what typically emotional intelligence is all about. It's a very basic part of what emotional intelligence is, and it's a very wide subject if you think of it from a psychology perspective. But today we will discuss with each other practical tools of how we can implement it and increase our emotional quotient. So we have our IQ and EQ. Now, slowly in management studies, we are starting to measure the EQ as well to really understand the aptitude of each individual. So today, what exactly is emotional intelligence? It's one of the most strongest interpersonal skills which are required by in any workplace. Now, you can be an entrepreneur, or you can be a businessman, or you can be a working professional, but in this emotional intelligence is a very integral aspect. Now, I've just broken it down into 4 competencies. Now, if you see, it's broadly into 2 parts: how we deal with ourselves, how we manage ourselves, and how we manage others. Now, managing ourselves, typically, if you look at 2 quadrants, you'll see that we're in quadrant of awareness and actions. Now, as life happens to us, we learn how to manage ourselves. So, time, money, and resources that are available to us, we manage it. But how often are we aware of how we are managing ourselves? So that is the part of self-awareness. So self-management is the part which is the acting self, and the self-awareness aspect is the part where we have to acknowledge what is actually happening within us. Now, while we managing ourselves, how do we manage others? Our relationship with others is how, because we cannot, no person has ever become successful individually. It has always been through a group itself. So if you want to truly be a leader, you can't just be managing yourself and figuring out, okay, so I have these 10 people in my team. Okay, this person has really good, he's very good at vouching. This guy is very good with analytics. This guy is very good data analytics. While we understand this, how do we ensure that that person is doing the exact right task? Because he himself is going through a lot of situations in his life which affect his efficiency at that point in time. So if we truly want to move towards efficiency, imagine other people's emotions as well. That is where emotional intelligence comes in. So typically the 4 quadrants that form part of emotional intelligence are self-management, self-awareness, social awareness, and relationship management. And so today's topic, we will just touch upon, or we will go through it at length when we start to become self-aware. Now, that is the best part. When we start to become self-aware, very, very, very easily, we will be able to manage the remaining 3 quadrants. Why? Because life prepares us. Whether we are ready for it or not, situations happen and we start to respond in those situations, or rather react in those situations. Self-awareness helps us to makes us one step further to understand how we want to respond in the situation. Now, this seems a little new, the subject. I'm sure a lot of my CA friends had told me this emotional intelligence and income tax, they don't really go well together. What does this really mean? So I want to take this step further to explain what exactly self-awareness is. Now, now this is a very basic thing, and I'm sure that we know it in parts or facts. Our entire mind, the function of our brain, the as we understand it, the functioning of the brain and the mind is broadly divided into 2 categories: the conscious mind and subconscious mind. Please bear with me. I'm trying to explain something from a scientific perspective for us to understand how can we actually develop self-awareness. For us to understand how to develop self-awareness, we need to understand how our mind works. Now, the first function of the mind is broadly divided into 2 parts: the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. The conscious mind is the mind which is listening to me right now. The conscious mind is the mind which is trying to comprehend what is she trying to say. Your conscious mind is trying to correlate what I am saying with some other part. Your conscious mind is trying to tell me, okay, I have these 5 hours, this is 4 to 5. I have to complete my session. Next, I'm going to do this. Next, I'm going to do that. It's the part which is always constantly aware. So when we talk about self-awareness, most of the time we think we're becoming aware of what is the conscious mind, which is what is happening inside my mind right now. What did I have for lunch yesterday? Okay, what is the 5 projects? What are the 5 things that I have to complete today? Okay, this is my project that is at hand. So who are the people I need to talk to? What are the rules and regulations? What are the case studies that I need to study? That's all what is stored in the conscious mind. But the aspect of self awareness, the differentiating factor between a manager and a leader, is one who knows what is happening in the subconscious mind. Now, what exactly does a remember. There will not be any conscious memory that you will be able to go back to, and yet you have that skill set. Everything that we studied in 11th and 12th yes, consciously, we only remember 10% of it. Our conscious mind is literally 10% of the brain, 10% of the tip of the iceberg. The remaining part, the intuitive part, the part which actually drives our actions and emotions, our motivation, the willpower, the strength, our creative ability, our analytical ability, all of these are underlying qualities which actually lie in our subconscious mind. So when we talk about self awareness, we see it from a holistic perspective to say not only do we know what is happening in our conscious mind, but we need to go deeper to understand what is happening in our subconscious mind. Now, our subconscious mind is what is driving our everyday actions. Now, I can ask you a very simple question. Tell me, what side of the bed did you get up from? Or how often do you check your phone in a day? Or WhatsApp rather, do you check in a day? How often, if you are a trader, how often do you unconsciously, we use all of these words, how often do you unconsciously look at your phone to see what is happening in the market? Is the market up? Is the market bad? All of these unconscious activities are actually activities which are triggered from our subconscious mind. So think of it in a business scenario, think of it in a meeting. You have a client sitting opposite you, you have an audit observation that you want him to understand, and he becomes aggressive, he starts to push. What do we typically do most of the time? Because of course with time we try to understand the big fish small fish concept. Let the small fish go so we have the bigger fish to put on the table, so that we have the negotiation power. But how long do we sustain our negotiation power depends on how well we understand what the other person requires and needs. When we understand that another person is triggering an emotion within us, we now have control on the emotion. So if you see an aggressive behavior and an aggressive auditee who is not giving you data or who's fighting back on your audit point, instead of using just logic, where we're trying to when we're putting facts on the paper to try and explain to the auditee, what we can also understand is what is the what we are trying to do. Now, this is where emotional intelligence comes in. This is where understanding our subconscious mind comes in. So, to understand our subconscious mind, we need to understand a very, very, very basic thing, which is our mind works on a pattern. We are like a program our internal world. The first time that we had it, the first time our brain made a synaptic connection. So let us say, for example, your mom compared you to someone when you were a kid and say, he's a better kid. See how well he's doing. Why are you not doing well? The first time an emotional reaction came from you and you said, oh, I don't feel that nice. My mom compared me to someone, but I don't like what my mom did. So you become sad. The first time an external stimuli led to an reaction. This is a pathway that got created. From point A to point B, the pathway got created. Now, the mind does not know whether that activity is happening outside or inside. So, every time your brain remembers that experience of your mother comparing, the brain is making synaptic connection to go to path point A to point B. So now your brain by default has created a synaptic connection that whenever anyone In your internal or in your environment, any external environment, trigger comes where the person is triggering an emotion of comparison. The trigger is comparison here. The immediate response of emotion is sadness. Now, some people don't use aggression as a way to respond to, let's say, comparison. So, what does the person do? Point A to point B, a synaptic connection has been made. Now, neuroplasticity says neurons that fire together wire together. Your personality determines your personal reality. Now, what exactly is your personality? Every time you have an emotion which is consistent for a period of time, it becomes a mood. Every time that mood over a period of time becomes a temperament. And that temperament over a period of time becomes personality. Always take an example of any elder person in your family. You'll understand what those traits are. Some people are very nagging. Some people are naturally very positive. Some people do not respond very well when, let's say, there's an adverse situation. Now, for example, I'll give you a classic example. When you were a child, you were told you are not enough. If you don't do this, that will not happen. If you don't do this, that will not happen. Now, this has been a conditioning that has been told to your mind time and again, time and again. Now, the emotional response for a child at this stage is I have to fight back. I have to keep on proving myself. I have to keep on proving myself. Now, this kind of a person, when he grows into the corporate ladder, he is always trying to please another person. He's always trying to say, oh, you know what, let me try to make my boss happy. Oh, let me try to make my subordinates happy. Oh, I should, I don't know, I want to be a good manager, so I will tell whatever, I will do all the work, but I won't let my team members know what they are doing wrong. This is classical case of managers. And during my tenure of the last 13 14 years of my professional career as a CA, working as a management consultant, this is so many examples where I have seen where managers have mismanaged the team because they have not understood what is the pattern that they hold in themselves. So some managers are very good at managing other people's time, but when it comes to managing their own time, they are not able to manage. Why? Because their priorities are askew. Why? Because they feel the need to impress other people. They feel the need to dominate another person. Their personality has become like that. Now, where does this personality get developed? While of course we learn so much about technical skills, if we are not aware of how we function as individuals, we will never be able to truly shine to and become excellent in our success, gain excellence in our profession. Because our profession is typically working with people. Professional service means we need to develop that empathy of giving the right guidance to our clients, a right guidance to our auditors, to our fellow partners, right guidance to a fraternity. Our opinion matters. When our opinion matters, if you are not aware of what is the underlying pattern that is working in your behavior, more often than not, it is very likely that we will be hurting some people and disappointing some people, and in the process the satisfaction that we want to truly derive from our profession is lost. While of course professional accolades come from all sides, the most important thing is to understand how well we can manage people. A truly successful person is one who is truly satisfied in his job, in his whatever role that he's playing. So if we understand that our brain is working, is actually our brain, our entire subconscious mind is actually functioning in a certain pattern, then we will understand that now we also have an option of being able to transform that pattern. Every time we have the same thought, we trigger the same choice. Every time we make the same choice, we trigger the same behavior. Every time we have the same behavior, we trigger the same experience. And every time we have the same experience, we have the same emotion. So now I also want to bring to you the aspect of health which comes attached to emotions. Every time we have an extreme emotional experience in our life, we are triggering certain hormones inside our body which are one of the causes for our ill health. Managing our emotions is also extremely important for us to manage our health. Now, the first step, and I'm going to do a quick recall. For us to really manage ourself, we need to understand ourself is not just our conscious mind, which is what we know and understand and think on a day-to-day basis, but to understand there is a deeper underlying pattern in our subconscious mind, which is actually driving our personality, because of which we are creating that personal reality of ours. Now, every time you trigger a thought inside your mind and you trigger the same kind of choice inside your mind, it's the same behavior, same personality, and you will keep on having the same kind of experiences. And you can take this as an example in your life. You can see what kind of patterns which are similar in your life in your clients. Try to see, take a moment to reflect and see what are the similar kind of experiences that you're repeatedly having in your life. Do you have do you have a client which is always not ready to pay you on time, or do you have a client who's always trying to negotiate with you and always trying to reduce the value of the work that you're doing? Or do you have a team member in your group right now who keeps on making you feel like you have to keep on proving yourself? And if this is the case, so if you have a repetitive pattern of these experiences in your life, you need to understand that these kind of experiences are triggered by the same kind of thoughts that you keep on creating. We think 60,000 thoughts a day. And the best part is, all of these thoughts are just we keep on thinking the same this pattern. We need to take a step back and to observe and to understand that we do have a pattern. Now, neuroplasticity as a concept says, and I'm going to take this screen off. Neuroplasticity as a concept says we have the capacity to change the anatomy of our brain. We can change and move the gray cells, the gray particle inside our mind from time to time to transform. It is not that today you have become this personality and you cannot change it. Our brain is dynamic. It can keep on transforming itself. Just because a path A to path B has been defined, it does not mean that path A cannot go to a path C or a path D. We have control on every experience in our life. Every experience. You cannot control what life is bringing to you, but you have absolute control of how you want to respond to every situation in your life. Everyone knows you should not get angry, you should motivate your team members, you want to spend time to improve your health, you want to manage your time to spend time with your family. Everyone knows all the good things that we want to do in our life. There is no one, I have not come here to share with you all the good things that we want to do. What we need to focus on is how we can do it. For, for us to reach that part, we need to understand right now we are working on autopilot. We are not, our life is not in control of us because we don't know what is happening. What are the patterns that are playing in our mind? Now, for us to understand what are the patterns that are playing in our mind, I have come to share with you a wonderful technique that I learned 15 years ago that has been practiced that is being practiced by more than crores of people, not just in the community that I know of, but it is being practiced world over for to implement this very aspect that I have shared with you. The aspect that makes us emotionally intelligent, the aspect that makes us self aware, that makes us aware of what is actually happening in the external environment and our internal environment for us to make a more informed choice. The reason why we're keeping on updating ourselves even after we have got a degree, after we become professionals, is because this continuous excellence is required for us, not just professionally, but we need to inculcate that into our practical life. So I come back again. If you really want to understand what the patterns of the mind are, you have to first become an observer. This, as a technique since ancient times, has been known as meditation. Sakshi Bhav, being an observer. Meditation is not a thing which is linked to a person, place, or situation. Meditation is simply a tool for us to become aware, to become to by observing what all is happening within and around us. So I'd like to do a small practical session for everyone to experience this deeply, so that this subject is not just a subject which you can keep on understanding intellectually. Why? Because again, it's your brain trying to understand all the information that I'm sharing with you. You can, of course, there's been a lot of disturbances. So your brain is just like, oh, I'm taking so much time to try and concentrate to what she's saying. What exactly is she trying to say? Everything that I'm sharing with you right now is getting filtered inside your mind through certain belief systems and patterns that are there in your subconscious mind. So for us to really understand what I'm talking about, a practical session is very, very important. So we will do a practical session. So whoever is wearing glasses, this is not linked to any religious organization. This is not linked to any spiritual trust. This is not linked to any Guruji or Babaji. This is simply the science of becoming aware of what is happening inside us. So, those of you all who are wearing glasses, we'll do this for about 10-15 minutes. We'll take off our glasses. Yes, sir? Okay, very good. So we can take off our glasses. Sit in a relaxed posture, because if your body is not relaxed, the first thing that your mind is going to do is going there. यहाँ पे दर्द हो रहा है, it's paining here, something is happening here. Just sit in a relaxed posture. Take off your glasses. Cross your fingers, your fingers and fingers. Just put it on your lap comfortably. Just sit comfortably. Normally, like you're sitting in a business meeting, just sit comfortably. Cross your fingers, cross your legs. That's it. That's all. And now we'll close our eyes and we will just observe our natural breath. We will just observe our natural breath. Watch your breath going in and coming out. Whenever thoughts take you away from this moment, come back to your breath. Whenever your thoughts take you away from this moment, come back to your breath. Watch your breath going in and coming out. The more and more we are with the breath, we are becoming aware. Do not chase your thoughts. Just observe your natural breath. Forget about where you are, who you are with. Just for a few moments. Just you and your soft, tranquil, easy, ever flowing breath. Just be with your natural breath. 1 minute. Breathe with your natural breath. Consistency. Five, four, three, two, one, zero. Slowly place the palms of your hands on your eyes. Exhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And slowly, slowly, slowly. Open your eyes again. Welcome back. If anybody would like to share their experience of how it was, please do write in your chat box. We'll be happy to take the comments. And so the session doesn't end here. I want to explain to you what actually happened in the process of 10 minutes. Maybe some of you all were able to observe your breath. Maybe some of you all got a lot of thoughts. Of course, this is the middle of a working day, so there are a lot of things that are happening in and around us. It's very, very, very natural to get distracted, but coming back, refreshing. The first step of awareness is to understand what is our behavior, our operational system, the OS, which is driving this entire physical body. What is happening there? To understand that, we need to take a step back. And that stepping back, the process that we just did, it's called Anapanasati meditation. Ana means the breath that's going in, Apana is the breath that's going out, and Sati is the coming together of the two. So every time we take a breath and we disconnect, we watch the thoughts. We're not chasing the thoughts, we're watching the thoughts. What we're actually doing is breaking the neural pattern. Every time a thought pattern comes, you'll know that you don't even know where it gets triggered. But by taking a step back, you're able to watch all the thought. You're just able to watch all the thoughts. What is actually happening in the background is when you start to become one with the breath, slowly and steadily, the neural patterns of one neuron that's firing, which is wiring all the other neural pathway patterns, is going to break. And so I want to show you a quick video of how and they make some really video infographic topics.
Not so long
and
ago,
this is the concept that we discussed.
many scientists believed that the brain did not change after childhood, that it was hardwired and fixed by the time we became adults. But recent advances in only the last decade now tell us that this is simply not true. The brain can and does change throughout our lives. It is adaptable, like plastic. Hence, neuroscientists call this neuroplasticity. How does neuroplasticity work? If you think of your brain as a dynamic, connected power grid, there are billions of pathways or roads lighting up every time you think, feel, or do something. Some of these roads are well-travelled. These are our habits, our established ways of thinking, feeling, and doing. Every time we think in a certain way, practice a particular task, or feel a specific emotion, we strengthen this road. It becomes easier for our brains to travel this pathway. Say we think about something differently, learn a new task, or choose a different emotion. We start carving out a new road. If we keep travelling that road, our brains begin to use this pathway more, and this new way of thinking, feeling, or doing becomes second nature. The old pathway gets used less and less and weakens. This process of rewiring your brain by forming new connections and weakening old ones is neuroplasticity in action. The good news is that we all have the ability to learn and change by rewiring our brains. If you have ever changed a bad habit or thought about something differently, you have carved a new pathway in your brain and experienced neuroplasticity firsthand. With repeated and directed attention towards your desired change, you can rewire your brain.
And so, what we did today, the practice of mindfulness, breath meditation, anapanasati that we did today, is giving a brain a stimuli to break the old neural pathway. How do we break it? Every time your thoughts take you away from this moment, come back to your breath. Every time your thoughts take you away from this moment, come back to your breath. So, what you're actually training the brain to do is not only are we observing all the thoughts that are happening, that are the gazillion thoughts, that 10,000, 70,000 thoughts that we're getting on an average in a day in our mind, but also helping to break those patterns which we don't want. So the next time someone compares you to someone, or the next time that you're in a very tough situation with your subordinate or your senior, or you're in a very tough situation in your personal life, and you're and you know what is the right thing to do, but you're not able to gain that self control with this technique, with regular practice of doing it for 21 days regularly, minimum as per our age, we start to break that old pattern, and what actually surfaces is our a new awareness of a choice of what we want to do in that situation. Everyone knows what should be done, but how do you have that extra edge of doing exactly what should be done, knowing what you want to do and doing that same thing? That gap is bridged when we start to become aware. That split second of awareness, when you say that thing to the subordinate, which you know will demotivate him but will get your work done in the short run, or to convince you to give those white lies which might be right in some aspects but don't give you the satisfaction of a good day at the end of a working day. All of these things can be taken care of if we become more and more aware of what is happening in our inner world. And for that, the first step is practicing this technique that we spoke about, anapanasati meditation. This meditation is really simple. It can be done anytime, anywhere, in any situation. You don't need a certain time or place. You can eat, you can do it before eating or sleeping, you can do it while sitting on a chair, on the floor, or whichever place that is comfortable for you. Minimum, each person should do this minimum as per their age. So if you're 50 years, 50 minutes, 20 years, 20 minutes, because we're building this into a new habit, what we can start off with, a bare minimum is 15 minutes. I used to personally do this with my the risk team and the PI team in EY, where before we went in for any meeting or we would have any team meeting, I would try to ensure that at least some of us could sit in meditation so that we were aligned. This was a new practice I started when we would go for sales pitches to present, to give our proposals to different clients. First thing I would do is just close my eyes, just take 5 minutes. And what it actually does is you also electromagnetically align yourself to the frequency of the room at that time. So you know exactly what is that thing that that person is looking for, because everything is just electromagnetic waves around us. So when we start to become aware of what is happening inside us, you're able to sense what is happening outside. So a lot of sales pitches that have happened very successfully have happened because I've taken that extra step of meditating. Even today, we are distributing via Geo absolutely free of cost, by of course Geo's policy, but also because those right moments, those right words said at the right time to the right people in the right situation leads to a perfect efficient environment. And so I request everyone, if you are willing to take the 21-day challenge, please start. You can connect with our channel on YouTube called PMC Hindi. You can write a number and we'll be happy to assist you. Of course, there's a great initiative taken by the institute, to a prestigious institute, to bring all of us. People talk about, so there's Brahma Kumaris, there's Art of Living, there's Sadhguru organization. We know, we hear of spirituality in one form or the other, and we think spirituality is something that's separate from our office place. In our organization, in our office, we're about 35 team members. We sit out of Green Park. We're a public limited unlisted company. So every day, so we learn a lot of nuances between Section 42 and Section 43 of the Companies Act. Because we've gone for private place, we're learning a lot of things professionally. What we're actually meditation. Everyone sits for 15 minutes in the morning for meditation. As a group, we meditate together. So whenever there is a conflict also within our team members, the first thing that we do is we resolve it. There's a lot of frustration in a junior who's saying, maybe you've not paid him enough or he's not getting the acknowledgement. How do you handle that situation? You take that break, you take that pause of that 5 minutes. Okay, let's come together and meditate. That person also gets a chance to introspect and realize, okay, maybe I'm overreacting. You also trying to understand, why is this person saying it? He's not asking, because he's feeling undervalued, he's pointing out some other problem in the system. So you are also able to create a very efficient workplace by practicing these things. So I invite all our fraternity members, please join us in this initiative. We can make a perfect spiritual workplace, a perfect working environment for our team members. Yelling at our subordinates, bossing around them because we have an opportunity, or trying to do an one-upmanship will not take us in a long way. The tagline that we have from Modi ji, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, if we really want to do it, every fraternity member has to work hand in hand. Your CA friend is not an enemy who is going to take your client away from you. You will start creating collaborative opportunities in which we can grow the economy together. But the first step, and so today I didn't talk about a lot of things. I apologize sincerely from my side because of the network disconnectivity. But this first step, the only step that we need to start is to connect back to ourselves. When you start to connect to yourself, it's miracles. I have seen so many negotiations happen so beautifully because that slight split, because what, everyone is essentially a human. Everyone is going through something or the other in their life. We just have to take a step back. While we're also professionals, we're also humans. Take that step back to become a complete individual so that we can truly achieve success in our life, truly gain excellence in our life. So I'd like to thank the institute and of course the CPE committee. There is more and more subject in this. Like if you go into one Section 42 is enough. If you go into the case studies to see what all is there in private placement, we have Sahara to Satyam, the SS, and of course Sachin Pailaji, who's given us this entire thing to explore. There's the world to explore in this subject of emotional intelligence. So today we touched the first part, but this technique that we practice right now, it's the ultimate. It is the ultimate. I can tell you, Harish, there is a very famous businessman in Surat who actually, I think we are aware of him, Harish Salvia. He is a Surat diamond merchant. 4,000 employee staff in his organization, they meditate every day for 15 minutes, the same technique. And he has 30 years of his operation, he has had only 1% attrition. Till date, every employee that has been working for him for 30 years continues to work with him. It's a beautiful business case that we can study in India, in an Indian setup, of how in an Indian setup, coming from different cultures, everyone sticks. They just do this meditation every day, 15 minutes. Every business meeting starts with this 15 minutes of self-awareness technique. So I hope you take it into your, it's an experiment. Once we start to do it, we know what, jitna hum karenge, the more that we do it, the more that we can explore the ras, the true essence of what this means. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. And basically, the today's this point was something different, but really the way in which you explained it, ma'am. Generally, we say that we are buying sorrows and pains, and keeping it inside only and distributing happiness and enjoyment. And that sorrow and pain, what we are buying is disturbing us like anything. We don't have family life. We are maximum the victims of anxiety. But the way in which you have explained, ma'am, really this topic was very important. And those the members who have taken the benefit of it, I think they are the luckiest people. Because, ma'am, the way what a chartered accountant can do, ma'am, you have expertise in a different altogether area, and the way in which you have explained the topic, ma'am, really, it is a very nice and mind-boggling experience. And because everything, ma'am, money, of course, money is going to come when you work for a certain period of time. But if you don't have peace with you, what will you do with that money? So, but the
Yes.
way in which you explain, ma'am, how a chartered accountant can practice, you explain that how we can handle our clients in different scenario. When client is coming, he is definitely coming with some problems and pains. We need to handle him, and parallelly, how to become happy and make him happy under the same circumstances. So that what you have explained in a
Yes.
very lucid way. Thank you very much, and we are definitely will be hoping to listen you once again also, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you to
Thank you
CPE
very much,
committee,
ma'am.
Pragya ma'am, for giving me an opportunity to moderate this event. Thank you so much. Thank you, our chairman, sir, vice chairman, sir. Thank you. And just we are concluding today's seminar. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.